1. Introduction. My name is Elizabeth Ward. I am 54 years old. I live in the busy city of New York. I own a company that makes clothes for men. It is a very large and successful company. People all over the country know my brand. My work is my life, and I am very proud of what I have built. I am a serious businesswoman, and I focus on my company every single day. Each year, we do something very important for the brand. We search for a new model. This model becomes the new face of my company for the next 12 months. His picture appears in popular magazines and on big posters in cities. He is also in our television commercials. Finding the right person is a big decision. This person represents my brand for a whole year. This year, the search for our new face began again. We held auditions at my main office. Hundreds of young men came to try for the job. The big room was full of energy and hope. So many of them wanted this chance. They were all young and handsome, with perfect faces and confident smiles. They walked for the judges and posed for the cameras. My team and I watched each person carefully. For many hours, I watched them. They were good, but they were all very similar. I was looking for someone with something special. Then, a young man walked in. The feeling in the room changed. He was 22 years old. His name was Johnny. He was tall, with dark hair and a strong, beautiful face. He was very handsome, but it was his eyes that I noticed first. He did not look at the cameras or the other people on my team. He was not nervous like the other men. His dark eyes looked directly at me and only at me. He held my look for a long moment. Then he smiled a little and he winked. It was a quick, secret movement, but my heart jumped inside my chest. I felt a small shock. I am always professional. I am the boss. I told myself to be serious and to not react. Elizabeth, stay calm, I thought. He is just a young model. But it was very hard to look away from him. I tried to focus on my notes, but my eyes kept returning to his face. I could feel a strange energy from him. He was confident and a little bit dangerous. I knew he was special. But I also felt something else, something personal that was not professional at all. It was a feeling I had not had in many, many years. 2. Forbidden flirtation. Johnny won the competition. He became the new face of my brand. Soon, his handsome face was everywhere. His picture was on big posters in the city and on the side of buses. When I opened a magazine, I saw him. When I watched television, his commercial for my clothes appeared. It was impossible to go anywhere in New York without seeing him. We worked together often. During photo shoots and meetings, he always found small ways to get my attention. When he passed me in the hallway, his fingers would touch my hand for just a second. If I was looking at some papers, he would stand very close. He would whisper something like, "That color looks good on you." His voice was always low and soft, only for me to hear. My heart would beat faster every time. I tried to stay professional. I was his boss, and I needed to act like one. I told myself it was not right. I was 54 years old and he was only 22, but it was very hard to ignore him. One evening, we worked very late. After a long photo shoot, everyone else went home. We were alone in my quiet office. The city lights shined through the big window. We were tired, but it was a comfortable silence. He looked at me for a long time. Then he said, "You are the most beautiful woman I have ever met." His words were a surprise. I felt all my professional walls fall down. I could not be cold with him anymore. I forgot about my company. I forgot about our ages. I just saw a man who looked at me with kind eyes. We started to laugh and we shared personal stories. We talked for hours. He told me about his family and his dreams. I told him about my life. It felt so easy to talk to him. After that night, we started meeting after work. We went for dinner at small restaurants where nobody knew us. We took walks in quiet parks after dark. I looked forward to his messages every day. I told myself we were just friends, but I knew it was more than that. I was falling in love with my own model. 3. A secret love. Our meetings after work became our little secret. We started to date, but we told no one. I was a powerful woman in the city, and everyone knew my name. A relationship with a man 32 years younger than me was not possible in public. People would talk and say terrible things. They would say he only wanted my money. They would say I was a foolish old woman. A scandal was the last thing my company needed. So we kept our love hidden from the world. We were very careful. We never met in popular places. Our love lived in the quiet corners of the city, away from the bright lights and busy streets of New York. With Johnny, I forgot about my age and my responsibilities. He made me feel young and full of life again. For many years, I only focused on my work. Now, I was focused on him. We took long walks by the river late at night when the city was asleep. He held my hand, and his touch felt warm and safe in the dark. We found small, quiet restaurants where nobody knew us. We talked for hours about everything and nothing. We laughed a lot. For the first time in a very long time, I felt completely happy. I was not just Elizabeth Ward, the boss. I was just Elizabeth, a woman in love. But one night, a dark cloud came over my happiness. We were sitting in my apartment, looking at the city lights. I felt a deep sadness inside me. I thought about the future, his future. I saw him with a family, with children playing around him, and I was not in that picture. The thought was too painful. Tears started to run down my face. I could not stop them. I tried to hide my face, but Johnny saw my tears. He moved closer and asked me what was wrong. I finally looked at him, my voice shaking. "Johnny, you deserve a real future," I whispered. "You are young. You should have a family. You should have children." I took a deep breath. "I can't give you that. I'm too old." The words hurt to say, but I needed him to understand my fear. I felt that I was holding him back from a happy, normal life. I believed I was being selfish by keeping him with me. Johnny listened quietly. He did not say anything for a moment. Then he moved closer and gently held my face between his hands. He made me look at him. His eyes were serious and full of love. "Elizabeth, look at me," he said softly. "I don't care about babies. I don't need children to be happy." He wiped a tear from my cheek with his thumb. "I only want you. You are my future. Please believe me." His words were simple, but they felt true. My heart wanted to believe him so much. In that moment, I chose to trust him. I let go of my fears and allowed myself to dream of a forever with him by my side. The proposal, 3 months passed. Our secret love felt stronger every day. One afternoon, we had a photo shoot for a new summer collection. The location was perfect, a large, beautiful yacht on the open water. The sun was warm and the sky was a perfect blue. Johnny was a true professional. He worked hard all day, posing for the cameras with a confident smile. I watched him from a chair, my heart full of love. To everyone else, I was his boss. But secretly, I was the woman who loved him. When the work was finished, the photographers and crew started to pack their equipment and leave. The sun began to go down, painting the sky with colors of orange and pink. It was a beautiful sunset. "Stay with me for a minute, Elizabeth," Johnny said. His voice was soft and a little nervous. We stood alone on the quiet deck of the yacht. The water was calm around us. He took both of my hands in his. "These past 3 months have been the best of my life," he said, his eyes serious. "You make me happier than I ever thought I could be." I smiled, feeling my cheeks get warm. Then he did something that completely surprised me. He slowly got down on one knee on the wooden deck. My heart started to beat very fast, like a drum. He took a small, black velvet box from his jacket pocket. He opened it carefully. Inside was a beautiful diamond ring. It shined and sparkled in the soft light of the sunset. "Elizabeth Ward," he said, his loving eyes looking right into mine. "Will you marry me?" Tears immediately filled my eyes and started to run down my face. They were happy tears, but a familiar fear returned to my heart. "Oh, Johnny," I whispered through my tears. "But what about a family? I told you I can't give you children." He did not stop smiling. He held my hand a little tighter. "That doesn't matter," he said gently. "I love you, only you. If we decide we want children in the future, we will find a way together. The only thing that matters right now is you and me." His words were like music, calming all my fears. I looked at his hopeful face. I looked at the incredible ring. In that perfect moment, I did not care about our age difference. I did not care about the scandal or what people would say. I only cared about this amazing man. Yes, I said, my voice shaking with emotion. Yes, I will marry you. We were married a few weeks later. The world was shocked by the news. The newspapers and magazines wrote many stories about us. They called Johnny a gold digger. They said he was a sugar baby who only wanted my company and my money. I heard all the bad words and saw the ugly headlines, but I chose to ignore them all. I was his wife now. I believed our love was real. I was sure it was strong enough to face anything together. 5. First betrayal. For the first few months, our marriage was a beautiful dream. I was happier than I had ever been in my life. Johnny was a wonderful husband, and his career was growing. As the face of my company, he was famous and successful. I felt proud of him and proud of us. I truly believed we had a perfect life together. But slowly, things began to feel different. I started to hear quiet whispers at work. People talked about Johnny and another young model from my agency. At first, I ignored the stories. I told myself that people were just jealous of our marriage. Then, one night, Johnny came home very late. He told me he was at a work meeting, but he could not look me in the eyes. I felt a cold fear in my stomach. A week later, I was doing laundry and I found something on his shirt. It was a mark of bright red lipstick on his collar. It was not my color. I never wore red lipstick. When I asked him about it, he just laughed. He said it was an accident from a photo shoot. He told me not to worry. I wanted to believe him. I loved him so much. But the doubt was like a small seed in my heart, and it was starting to grow. I could not sleep well. I was always thinking about where he was and who he was with. The happy dream of our marriage was starting to feel like a nightmare. One evening, I could not ignore my feelings anymore. Johnny said he was going to a dinner with some clients. I did not believe him. I decided to follow him. My hands were shaking as I drove my car behind his. He did not drive to a restaurant in the city. Instead, he drove to a small hotel. I parked my car and went inside. The hotel lobby was quiet. I sat in a chair in a dark corner where nobody could see me. I waited for a long time. Then I saw him. He was walking out of the elevator, and he was not alone. A young woman was with him. She was laughing as she put her arms around his neck. He held her and smiled. My heart broke into 1,000 pieces. I stood up and walked toward them. When Johnny saw me, his face became pale. "Elizabeth," he said. His voice was full of surprise. I looked at the woman and then back at him. "What is this?" I asked, my voice shaking. He quickly let go of the woman. "It is nothing," he said. "This is a misunderstanding. She is just a friend." He swore to me that it was not what I thought. I looked into his eyes, desperate to see the truth. I wanted to believe him more than anything. My love for him was a weakness. I closed my eyes to the clear truth in front of me. I chose to believe his lie because I was too afraid to lose him. 6. A broken promise. A few more months went by. I tried hard to push the memory of the hotel out of my mind. I wanted to trust Johnny, to believe that it was just one mistake. But our home did not feel the same. It was quiet and cold. When he was home, he was distant. He often looked at his phone and smiled, but the smiles were not for me. I felt a deep fear in my stomach, but I was too scared to ask him what was wrong. I did not want to hear the truth. Then, one Tuesday evening, he came home from a photo shoot. He did not say hello or kiss my cheek like he usually did. He just stood in the doorway of the living room, looking at the floor. His hands were in his pockets. "Elizabeth," he said quietly, "we have to talk." My heart stopped. I knew this was it. The moment I was afraid of was finally here. He walked closer but did not sit down. He took a long, slow breath. "It's about the other woman," he said, his voice shaking a little. "She's pregnant." The air left my lungs. The room started to spin. It felt like the world was ending. He looked at me then, his eyes full of something I did not recognize. "I need to be a father, Elizabeth. I have always wanted children." My strength left me. My legs became weak, and I collapsed onto the soft carpet. I could not control my crying. Deep, painful sobs came from my chest. "But you promised," I whispered through my tears. "On the yacht, you promised me. You said I was enough for you. You said we did not need children to be happy." I remembered his words so clearly. They were the reason I said yes. He looked away again, unable to meet my eyes. "I am so sorry," he said. "I truly am. I do love you, Elizabeth, but I love this baby too. I cannot abandon my child." My beautiful dream was over. It was a lie. Our love, our marriage, his promises, they were all broken. In that moment of terrible pain, I made a foolish choice. I was desperate. I did not want our marriage to end. I still loved him more than anything. I looked up at him and said he could have the child. I agreed to it. I thought that if I gave him this, he would be happy. I believed that my sacrifice would show him how much I loved him, and he would finally come back to me. But it was a hopeless dream. He continued to cheat. He spent more and more time away from our home. My sacrifice meant nothing. 7. The divorce. The scandals grew bigger every day. It was impossible to ignore them. The newspapers and magazines all had stories about Johnny and his pregnant mistress. The headlines were big and screamed at me from every newsstand. "Fashion queen's husband in love triangle," one said. Another showed a picture of him with the other woman, smiling. I could not walk down the street in my own city without feeling people's eyes on me. They whispered when I passed them. Their looks were full of judgment. It felt like everyone in New York was talking about my broken marriage. My work, my company, my life, everything was covered in this cloud of shame. I tried to be strong, but it was difficult to face the world each morning. For many weeks, I held on to a small piece of hope. I loved Johnny more than I could explain. I truly believed that our love was special and strong. I thought it could survive this terrible situation. I told myself that he would remember his promises to me, but he did not. His late nights continued, and his lies did not stop. The pain in my heart grew deeper with each day. I cried alone in our big, empty house. Then, one day, I understood the truth. Love was not enough. My love could not change him. It could not make him the man I wanted him to be. And it could not protect me from the pain he was causing. I had to protect myself. The next morning, I woke up with a heavy heart but a clear mind. The decision was made. I went into our bedroom, the room where we shared so many dreams. I opened his side of the closet. I started to take out his expensive suits, his shirts, and his shoes. I folded everything carefully and placed it into his suitcases. The house was so quiet. The only sound was the soft rustle of clothes. When I was finished, I found his wedding ring on the small table next to the bed. I picked it up. It felt cold in my hand. I remembered the day he put it on my finger. I placed the ring right on top of his folded shirts. Then, I walked to the dining room table and put the divorce papers next to his favorite chair. Johnny arrived home later that day. He walked in and stopped when he saw the suitcases by the door. His eyes moved to the table and saw the papers. He looked at me, and his face was a mix of surprise and fear. My voice was shaking when I spoke. "I loved you more than my own soul, Johnny," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "But you only ever loved yourself." I looked directly into his eyes, and for the first time I saw real regret there. I saw the pain of his mistake, but it was too late for apologies. It was too late for us. I did not wait for him to speak. I turned, walked out of the door, and did not look back. I closed that painful chapter of my life. 8. A new beginning. After the divorce, my life felt empty and cold. For many months, the big house was too quiet. Every night was long, and my heart was broken into many small pieces. I often cried when I was alone. I did not want to see my friends because I did not want to talk about Johnny. It was hard to go outside. The world felt dark and sad, and I thought I would never feel happy again. The pain was very big, and it made me feel very small and weak. But slowly, things started to change. One morning, I looked in the mirror for a long time. I saw a tired woman with very sad eyes. I did not know this person. I decided I needed to be strong again. I could not let my broken heart destroy my life. I was Elizabeth Ward. I built a company. I was a powerful woman before I met him, and I could be a powerful woman again. It was time to start a new part of my life, a new beginning. I put all my energy into my work. I went to my office early every day and stayed late. My pain became my power. I had new, exciting ideas for my men's clothing brand. We created new designs and opened new stores. The company grew bigger and more successful than ever before. Seeing my company do so well made me feel proud and strong. It was good to build something positive from all my sadness. When I was ready, I started to travel. I wanted to see the world and find joy in new places. I went to Italy and ate wonderful food. I walked on beautiful beaches in Greece and felt the warm sun on my skin. I met new people who did not know my story. They did not whisper about me. They just saw me, Elizabeth. I learned to smile again. I found happiness in small moments, like a beautiful sunset or a good conversation. One evening, I was in Paris. I stood on the balcony of my hotel room. I looked at the beautiful city lights below. In that quiet moment, I thought about everything. I thought about Johnny. I loved him very deeply, and I lost him very painfully. But I was still here. I survived. "You are okay, Elizabeth," I whispered to the night sky. "You loved, you lost, but you are strong." I finally understood that Johnny was only one chapter in the book of my life. He was not the whole story. My life was much bigger than our love and our problems. I did not need a man's arms to feel safe or happy. I found my peace in my own strength. I was happy with myself. This was my real happy ending.